I have a friend who's struggling a little bit right now, and I know for a fact that she's not alone, so let's talk about it. One of her loved ones is suffering from very severe depression, and it's fairly well documented that suffering from depression or substance abuse or any type of mental health issues is obviously very difficult to deal with. But what's not really discussed very often is how difficult it can be for the loved ones of those suffering from those mental health issues. And some issues my friend is struggling with include feelings of guilt, of helplessness, of just not really knowing what to do in the situation for her loved one that's dealing with the severe depression. One thing you can definitely do if you find yourself in that situation is know 988. That's the suicide hotline, at least in America. And if you do nothing else but make sure that your loved one knows 988 and to call that number if they are struggling or dealing with suicidal ideation, that alone can be life-saving. The people on the other end of that line are well-trained experts, and they are there to help people through these crises. But beyond that, I really don't know the correct way to deal with a situation like this. It's going to change in every circumstance. One thing that can potentially be helpful is simply letting them know that you care about them and that you're there for them. And from the personal side, I lost my sister to suicide a couple years ago. In my experience with my sister, I went through the spectrum of thinking that I wasn't doing nearly enough to thinking that maybe I was actually doing too much and harming myself in the process. And on neither end of the spectrum did I really feel like I was making any difference in her life at all. And to this day, I struggle with what could I have or what should I have done differently. And one thing I didn't do that I wish that I would have done is seek help for myself. I was often so lost and confused, had no idea what to do, and then I just sort of left it there. But there are experts out there. There are therapists that you can talk to, and something as simple as recognizing that you, as the loved one of this person suffering from depression, can be having a really hard time too, that alone can be really powerful. It wasn't until over a year after my sister died by suicide that I made the realization that this was actually something very difficult for me too. Obviously, she was suffering, and obviously I wanted to be there for her. But it was really hard for me. And I'm sure it was really hard for everyone in her life. And I know it's really hard for my friend that's going through this right now. And I don't have answers, I don't know how to fix the situation, but I will say if you can take care of yourself, you might even potentially set an example for your loved one suffering from depression. And even if you're not setting an example, you are putting yourself in a better position to be there for them. Suffering from depression is very difficult. And when your loved one is suffering from depression, that's also very difficult. And it's okay for you to not be all right with this situation. And if nothing else, simply remember 988. That's the suicide hotline in America. And if we can simply make sure that everyone knows 988, then a lot of lives can potentially be saved. And don't forget to take care of yourself.